Apologies for not starting with episode 1 of this series. I meant to, but my computer was experiencing some technical difficulties. So we are joining the Orville on episode 6. For those of you not in the know, the Orville is a new dramedy series from Seth MacFarlane that is currently airing on Fox. Previous episodes can be caught on Fox's streaming service on their website. Now, there seems to be some confusion. A lot of critics have slammed this show for not being funny. I put the blame for this solely on Fox's advertising department, who decided to advertise it as an out-and-out parody of Star Trek. However, that seems to have never been MacFarlane's intention. I have a hit or miss relationship with Seth MacFarlane on previous projects. However, he is a passionate and devoted Star Trek fan, and that shows through on this project at a time when everyone else is running away from what Star Trek is, even Star Trek itself, running from its classic feel and structure. This show embraces it. And don't get the wrong idea, because the emphasis is on the drama, not the comedy. There are a lot of funny moments in it, but there are funny moments more of characters reacting to something realistically rather than just the characters. Treating everything as a joke. When things get serious on this show, they get serious. So far, the best episode of the show has been episode 3, About a Girl, which was so good that you could have plopped it down in the middle of Star Trek Next Generation's best run, and it would not feel out of place. MacFarlane is pretty good as the show's lead captain, Ed Mercer, a captain who had personal problems and had his career stall out because of them. So, and the show moves on. In fact, the structure of the show's pilot, and it goes on from there. But this show mixes drama and comedy adeptly. If you understand the feel of MASH, particularly its later seasons where it became less jokey, you will get this show. So, in this week's episode, we get something that feels like it could have come out of Deep Space Nine's best run. The Orville interrupts an attack by the Krill on an Union colony. They succeed in destroying the Krill ship, but they end up capturing a shuttle. An admiral then comes on board and informs them that that they are the first ship to ever capture a Krill shuttle, and that there will be a limited time before the shuttle is reported destroyed. We also finally learn some background on the Krill, who we haven't seen since the pilot episode. And that is that they are sensitive to light because they live on a planet that has almost no sunlight on it. Hence, the helmets that they wear are not just for looks, or to hide the fact that they're using the same stuntmen over and over again. And also that they are religious extremists. The description that we get makes them sound like modern day Muslim extremists. However, MacFarlane can never seem to resist the temptation to bash Christians, because once we get on the Krill ship. They seem to base them very much on Christians, even though when was the last time you heard in the news about a Christian shooting up someplace or strapping a bomb to themselves and blowing it up? Again, in typical Hollywood fashion, they are brave enough to attack Christians, but because who don't fight back, and they give themselves a pat on the back for doing that, but they aren't brave enough to go after Muslims who actually do commit acts of violence. So the stand against religious violence taken in this episode feels empty and pointless and out of touch with problems of the modern world, which is a shame because the show has handled other subject matter so adeptly. This is also the second episode in the series' short run that has featured extremists based on Christians who are ultra-violent. They try to give the Krill a little more humanity than they gave the religious people in the last episode we saw religious people in, and for the most part they succeed, but when you have them stabbing a head that they bring out in a very Christian and church-like service, and lines such as unlike every other race when they achieve scientific progress, they didn't abandon religion, totally ignoring all religious people who have ever contributed to science or believe that science is a tool that God gave us for understanding His creation and ourselves. It's hard not to see Seth MacFarlane's personal bias coming through here. However, the episode does present a Deep Space Nine level dilemma. They originally sent on the ship to get a copy of the Krill's holy book. And they do succeed in copying its pages onto a PDA thing, thanks to having holographic disguisers of their bodies. However, they then find a superweapon that's going to be used on a unarmed colony of 100,000 people. So they decide that they have to destroy it by using ultraviolet light on the ship to kill everyone. Things get complicated when they find children on board, and there is a moral dilemma about keeping the children safe. In the end, they succeed in saving the children and stopping the weapon, but at the cost of everyone on the crew save one teacher's life. The teacher then informs there is a poignant scene tacked on where Captain Mercer asks his new Krill prisoner what else was he supposed to do when they were going to fire a weapon that would kill 100,000 people. She asks him why he didn't take the children prisoner and why they're being returned. He says because they're just children. They're not my enemy. She points out that seeing all the bodies on their ship and what he did made them his enemy. So that feels like it ends on a very Deep Space Nine note. The episode is very well written and put together, except for MacFarlane's tendency to try and write all religious extremists as religious extreme Christians. He doesn't seem... But then again, that's typical of Hollywood, so I'm not gonna hold that against the episode too much. It's not as good as About a Girl, but I'd say it's probably, after that and Command Performance, the the third best episode of a series. So the final rating for the Orville Season 1, Episode 6 is 6.5 out of 10. Not, it's above average, but not great. It doesn't feel like it has anything to say about the modern world, because it seems to be stuck in a medieval it seems to be stuck making a statement about our medieval past that is far behind us rather than the present. However, as an adventure story with a moral dilemma in it, it's actually very good, and it would have been a typical Deep Space Nine episode if it had been written for that series. So, as always, I look forward to next week's episode of The Orville, and I'll see you guys next time.